My childhood crush that rejected me suddenly declares she wants to be with me, just as I was about to propose to her younger sister. I am Victor, 26 years old, and my childhood friend, Amelie, is also 26. We are both from Las Vegas, Nevada. We grew up knowing each other since we were children, and our families eventually became close-knit, celebrating our birthdays, Christmas, and New Year's together. For as long as I can remember, I've always been in love with Amelie. She knew it, as did our families. Our parents always joked and made references that one day we could get married and unite our families even more. When we were 15 years old, I confessed my love to Amelie, but she rejected me. She said she didn't want it to affect our great friendship and that perhaps in the future, we could try something. Heartbroken, I accepted it. When we were 18 years old, about to enter college in Pasadena, I confessed my love to Amelie again, but she said no. She wanted to live life. She said she was going to college in Los Angeles, which surprised me since we were both supposed to have sent our applications to the University of Pasadena. Pasadena is in California, just like Los Angeles, but I was shocked by what Amelie told me. I didn't think she had those thoughts. She went on to tell me that one of her friends, with whom she was also going to Los Angeles, told her to live her life, saying that university education was the best way to grow up as a person. This way, she could experience everything, and when she entered marriage, she would do so without any regrets. She encouraged me to do the same and said that when we met again, we would be ready to start something. I didn't say anything in response, I just nodded since I understood that Amelie didn't view relationships and commitment the same way I did. This is how I started my university life with a broken heart. From time to time, I would look at Amelie's social networks and see how she posted pictures of the parties she attended at the university with other boys and girls. This made me feel sad, and it started to affect my academic performance. When I realized this, I decided to leave Amelie behind and focus on myself and my studies. I spent a year focusing on improving in college and started exercising, as I wasn't in good shape. One day, while running around the university, I saw a young woman who looked familiar. It was Amelie's younger sister, Haley. I was surprised and went to greet her. She was also surprised and blushed, which I thought was very sweet. I asked her what she was doing at this university and joked, "You didn't come here just to meet me, did you?" That made her blush even more, and we both laughed. I remembered that when we were younger, Haley and I barely talked since I only had eyes for Amelie. Whenever Haley was alone with me, she would always find an excuse to leave. I asked Haley if she wanted me to show her the campus. A little nervous, she said yes. That's how our university years went by, and I got to know Haley better. I was surprised to see how much we had in common, and over time, I realized I liked her. I loved the way she looked at me and convinced her to exercise with me. Unlike Amelie, Haley had always been on the lighter side, and I was amazed by the incredible transformation she underwent. 2 years later, we decided to start dating because I had fallen in love with her, and she confessed that she had always had feelings for me. However, she knew I only had eyes for Amelie and didn't want to interfere with my love for her sister. Knowing that Haley was that kind of woman made me love her even more. By the time I graduated, I decided to stay in Pasadena, look for a job, and find an apartment while waiting for Haley to finish her final year of college. During the years we were in college, Haley and I would come home in the summer and spend time together, but Amelie never came back. She said she was too focused on her studies. Haley and I decided not to tell our parents about our relationship since we knew they might meddle a bit. We planned to tell them later. By the time Haley graduated, I already had a job where I could work happily. Since Haley had studied the same as I did, she could join the same company as me, but in another department. In case you're wondering, we both studied systems engineering. 2 years passed in which Haley and I focused on our relationship and our work. I had prepared a surprise for Haley. I wanted to propose to her in front of our families. So, I took 2 days off work to go to my parents' house, where both our families would gather for the weekend. I wanted to give her the surprise then. On Thursday, I mentioned to Haley that I had to go to my parents' house for something not very important and told her she could join me on Saturday. She looked a little confused but said she was fine with it. When I arrived at my parents' house, they greeted me warmly, and so did my sisters. My mother then said, "See who's here." When I turned to the living room, I saw Amelie. She got up quickly to greet me and tried to kiss me on the cheek, but I pulled away. She looked confused, and my mother told me, "Son, get ready because in the evening, we'll all get together for dinner." I knew that meant my family and Amelie's family were going to meet for dinner. I thought it was fantastic since with everyone there, it would be easier to share my surprise with them and Haley. I spent the rest of the day talking with Amelie and was surprised by everything she said, how much fun she had at parties and how she had hooked up with a lot of guys. She talked about it as if it had been a great experience and even said, "I hope you had a good time too," while winking at me. I couldn't believe everything she was saying. I just replied that I had a great time as well. That night, I told my parents I wanted to talk to them about something very important. They said, "Yes, we think we know what it is," and laughed. I thought Haley must have told them about our relationship. When we were at dinner, with Amelie's parents on one side and mine on the other, I tried to get everyone's attention. I wanted to say something important, and Amelie's mother and mine turned to look at me and smiled, which made me a bit nervous. But before I could say anything, Amelie spoke up and said, "Don't worry, Victor, I'll say it." She then turned to look at me and said, "Victor, yes, I accept to be your girlfriend." When I heard that, I couldn't help but be speechless.
You can now check part 2 by pressing share then more.